Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of CLX Foundry Live right here on Twitch. I'm your host, DJ BluePDX, and of course, joining me right now live in the studio, it's our lead technical expert, Paul Steffens, and today's master builder, Zack Killingsworth.
Hi.
How you doing, guys?
Good, good. You?
Doing good.
Excellent. You know what I'm eyeballing? I am eyeballing that fantastic PC that's back there in that NV7 case. That is our current giveaway. If you'd like to know more about how you can get in on that giveaway, type exclamation give kick in the chat right now and follow that link. This is an amazing piece of equipment that we have teamed up with, not just Kick, but also we've teamed up with Beacon. And Beacon is going to be giving away a Mix Create mixer and a mic. That's going to be awesome. You can get all sorts of different entries simply by completing all the different tasks on that list. Excuse me, I don't know where my voice went. And you can also use the codes launched and released in this stream, in my stream, on our social media, that is YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter, at CLX Gaming, and of course in our Discord at discord.gg/CLX Gaming. Right now, we've got a cool case I don't think we've really done on here before. And it's all going for Mark in Wyoming. Gentlemen, what are we putting in that case?
Yeah, so Mark has custom configured a set off our website. So the case that we're using is a Phanteks P500A. I believe it is a first for the main show, maybe some on the after show, but really cool case here. It's very similar to the Evolve X. We'll get into that here in just a minute. So starting out, we've got our i9-13900KS for our processor. We've got a Phanteks Glacier 360 AIO to cool that. Our motherboard is an ASUS Maximus Z690 Extreme, the DDR5 version. We've got a total of 64 gigs of DDR5-6000 speed memory from GSkill in the form of two 32 gig sticks. And for our solid state drive, we've got a Samsung 2 terabyte 990 Pro. Very high-end M.2 there. That'll be really cool to see. Video card, we've got an RTX 4090. We've got 7 fans from Thermaltake, the RGB versions. That's also, maybe we've done those a couple times on the show, but these are really cool, so glad to see that. And then our power supply, we've got a 1200 watt Corsair HX 1200. So this is an all-out system, very high-end here.
Yeah, this is incredible. Absolutely wild. I love the Maximus motherboards. They are great. Don't forget, if you find yourself wondering what we might have said or have a question about a terminology you may not be familiar with, all you got to do is ask that question in chat. We are here for it. Also, don't forget, early bird code KICK-FVDR. FVDR. So, favorite Vermont doctor. Now, that is honestly, I think, one of the bigger boxes I've ever seen a motherboard come in.
I struggled a little bit picking that up over there. I handed it over.
You know, obviously I love the ROG Extremes. I've got an Extreme formula, or a Maximus formula. So, another brilliant motherboard.
Yeah, really high end here. It's obviously the Extreme. We can see it there on that shot. I mean, this board is just beautiful.
Yeah. And if we want to take a look at that IO shield real quick, that thing is nuts. Not only does it have a 10 gig, it's got a Marvel, what they call a Marvel Action 10 gig Ethernet port. This thing is loaded with USB 3.2s, Gen 1 and Gen 2. You've got multiple different USB-Cs, all that are 10 gigs up and down. It's wild. Wi-Fi 6E. Obviously, you've got your Bluetooth 5.3. Lots of fun, plus plenty of sound options. I don't know what happened to my voice. It was there, and now suddenly it's not.
Now it's going.
Okay. Apparently, I just hit puberty. There we are. All right. Now, I have a question about the 6As because the P500As are obviously not ones that we have had on the show before, at least not during the main show. Where else would they find these cases?
So you can find these all over our channel options, which is Best Buy, Newegg, Walmart, Amazon. All those big box retailers should have these.
Nice.
This thing is just very, this thing is just really reminds me of the Evolve X. You can see that I got the doors off. The back one is not a glass door, but it's still a door, which I like. Typically you see, you see the glass be a swinging door and this be secured with screws. So it's cool that they're both swinging, and then they've obviously got our cable management covers here. So we'll be pulling these off and taking them off just as we prep the case. But yeah, very, very, very similar to the Evolve X.
Now, the Evolve X, if I'm not mistaken, is a raw, and this is actually part of our set group.
Correct.
So that's what's the size difference between a raw and a set build?
So that depends on the chassis. They're both ATXs. I mean, you can get there's a lot more options you can get or sizes with set, but raws are our biggest ones. However, this is about the same size as a raw, but our raws include our like elites that Zack built last week. That's really huge. We just go, the raws are really just the highest end ones we got.
Nice. All right. The box is G500 though. Wait, what? I missed it. Needs a hot toddy.
G500, yeah.
Honestly,
They fluctuate between P500 and G500. Very slight differences on there. Pretty much the same case though. I think the RGB on the front panel is a little different, but yeah.
Shasta had a question. It said, is the 4070 Ti worth it compared to the 4070? Based on price and performance.
I mean, as you go higher and higher on the video card tier list, you're going to be paying more per frame than you know, like you are. Like a 4070 is going to cost more than a 4060, and you're going to get a little bit more bang for your buck on the 4060. However, it's not going to perform as good as the 4070. So each step up you go, you're paying a little bit more. So it really just depends what you're using for, if it's worth it or not.
Yeah. Let's see here. Keys now says, I have a question. Does the kit giveaway PC have SPDIF IO port? I believe
it should, yeah, the SPDIF port.
Should, yeah.
I can go look in just a sec once we get this retention kit out of the AIO box.
Okay. Now, you did mention we're putting in a KS in here.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's not a nomenclature we often see in Intel processors. So what does that stand for, and why is that different?
Yeah, so the S is really the unique part there. So the S is a special edition. This doesn't always happen with every generation of Intel. It's usually just for, you know, some landmark CPUs. So typically with those special editions, they're the highest performing processor of that model. So this one is a 24 core 32 thread processor with 8 P cores and 16 E cores. And it has a base speed of 3.2 and it boosts up to 6, which is incredibly fast. And that's what you see with these special edition processors.
Nice. Nice. Aki now says, I recently set up my surround sound, and having that as an option would be great. Oh yeah. That is a great way to deliver sound. That's honestly, that is how I have mine set up on for my box of stairs that goes into my stereo. It's through IR. The optical port is fun.
Yeah, let me go see on this real quick. Yes, it does have that option.
It does?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of boards that don't lately that we've been using.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the things that I love about the Maximus boards is there is so much heat shielding. So much heat shielding. Now we're obviously pulling that AIO out. You said that is I believe that is a Phanteks Glacier 1360.
Mm-hmm. Yep, this is the Phanteks Glacier 1360. So this is a slightly newer AIO that we've had, and it's performed really well. As far as AIOs go, it's the best cooling that I've seen for a 360. So we really like these. They look really good. They have this nice infinity mirror cap that will go on the top of it when we're done. It just goes on magnetically. This looks really great.
Yep, a lot of fun on that one. Now, interestingly enough, this only has, it doesn't have a secondary hard drive built for it, but the operating system that is going to be placed on a 2 terabyte Samsung 990 Pro. This is a 2280 NVMe M.2. These are, if I'm not mistaken, one of the fastest ones that Samsung has made.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, this is a beast of an M.2 drive right here.
And that'll go down underneath that that info screen. I really love the info screens on these boards, to be honest.
I do too. When I was first messing with these, we were doing a BIOS update on the motherboard, and it was really cool because it would show you the progress of the BIOS update on there. Like, that is so cool.
Yeah, I like being able to just look back and see what my temperatures are at.
Mm-hmm.
It does give you a lot of options of, like, you can have it do this or that, something else. I dig that. All right, there we go. Yeah, but it just fits right on underneath there.
Mm-hmm. What I really like is if you watch Zack secure this down, it just has that little tab that you swivel over, and that's it. No screw needed.
Yeah, these boards are kind of genius like that. I was really happy to see how that's how mine works. Plus, this board also has what we know as the button.
Yes, our lovely quick release button for our top PCIe slot there. Very nice. Makes getting your video card out very easy, and really it's pretty practical on boards like this. This is obviously a very high-end board, so we can assume we've got high-end components going into it. Once you get a really big video card, it can be hard to get your finger down there to release that PCIe clip.
Yeah, especially with that kind of shielding.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep.
Oh, we're doing 2 of these. No.
Oh, this is our memory going in.
Got it. All right. Now for this is fun. This is 232 gig GSkill DDR5-6000 sticks of RAM. Like, I have 64 in mine, but mine are 416s. What kind of performance difference is there between having 232s via 4 or as opposed to 416s?
Now, so there will be a slight performance difference between the two. It also depends on your processor. Like, Ryzen benefits more from, you know, the 4 sticks of memory than Intel does. But really what we're thinking about here is future expandability. But because as far as frame rate goes in your games, this is a really high-end system. You're not going to see much of a difference between the two versions, between having 4 sticks or 2 sticks.
Gotcha. Nice. Trash Panda, what's going on? Yes, it is some beefy RAM. All right, guys, what's next?
The drop. Yeah. We'll go ahead and get this board mounted into our case.
Now, Trash Panda, this is actually an Intel build today. We've got a 13900KS. So, exceedingly powerful board.
My brain is thinking.
EATX?
Very much so.
So we have an
What's
EATX
that mean?
motherboard, which is the extended version of an ATX. So you can see just by looking at this board, it's quite a bit wider than a regular ATX. So we are going to make some adjustments on these tabs that you see Zack doing right now. These panels in the back, these can slide back and forth to allow cables to come through, give you a little bit room on your motherboard, all that good stuff.
Gotcha.
It's great how my brain works sometimes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then
Cool.
we'll get plugged in.
I'm always impressed with how modular Phanteks has become lately.
Okay.
Yeah, when this.
Yeah. Cool. Let's do
Yeah, the
this.
Phanteks cases are really nice with all the straps. I mean, it's been a little bit since we've seen one on the show, but yeah, just really nice because those panels can pop out, and actually where you see them laying down on the right side there, you can take all those out and put like stacking hard drive trays and put a whole bunch of hard drives in there.
IKEA's now has a good question. do you ever have issues with the builds during stream, like it doesn't power on and such? If so, what do you do?
Yeah, we've definitely had issues in the past. You just kind of work your way through it, try to troubleshoot it. Pretty much everything that could go wrong with this we've seen before. Zach's been doing this for a long time, as well as myself. Same with Hayden when he's up here. So typically when it turns on, it's always a little disappointing, you know, when it doesn't go right. But it's like, okay, I know where to look. And then we'll either fix it here if we've got the stuff in the studio for it, or we'll take it out to the shop and get it fixed there.
Excellent. Trash Panda mentions that they were going to do an Intel build, but the 12th Gen i9s are on a shortage in your area. Interesting. Okay.
Wanting to wait till October, you could snag up a 14th gen.
There you go.
Right? It feels like they just launched the 13th gens, and now we're on to 14th.
It moves so quick now. I mean, maybe it always has, but it feels a lot quicker than what it used to be.
Yeah. Yup. I thank you guys for your Prime subs. And as you know, I believe that's still an option of increasing the number of entries you've got into the giveaway, which is a lot of fun. Now, I'm noticing that on the section that you're screwing back in now, so you have to take that lower heat shield off to get to the mounting screws for the standoffs.
Correct.
Is that okay? Gotcha.
Same with where we mounted the M.2 at. There was a standoff underneath our hole here. So I had to leave that disconnected, or well, just not screwed on. But don't forget to screw it back down.
I don't know how I feel about that with the cover covering the motherboard. Like, it's nice for the clean look, but it's like, just put a hole in that panel to get a screwdriver in.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
That's kind of my thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. And we can do
Okay.
fans. 3 fans.
Now, this is going to be different than some of the other builds that we've done, and in similar Phanteks fashion, we've got air flowing from the front through the back and out the top.
Yeah, so I kind of like to call this
So-
the more traditional case design, where our main intake is on the
Yes.
front and our exhaust is out the back. Now, we do have 7 fans in here, so we'll have 3 in the front, 3 in the top right here where my hand is, and then 1 in the rear. So our 3 in the front will be intake, and our 3 at the top and 1 in the back will be exhaust.
Let's see, a reciprocal ask, isn't that bad for heat dissipation?
No.
And that might have been in reference to something previous, but I'm pretty sure that's where it was at.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times you'll see your liquid cooler or your radiator mounted to the top of the case, and you know, we could do that, but this way our radiator is going to get fresh air from the outside and give it better cooling than if it was inside the case.
Perfect.
There you go. Now, as for the fans, these are a little bit different. These are Thermaltake ring fans. These are a little bit of a different feel, a little bit of a different look. What makes these stand out when it compared to other fans?
Yeah, so the biggest thing with these is they just feel a little bit more sturdy. They've got a nice cable sleeve on these, but Thermaltake fans have great performance. They're the first ones that came out with the ring when you first started seeing LEDs in the ring around the fan. Before it was RGB and you picked the color, we stocked all the colors back then. We had red, blue, green, obviously, but then they had orange and white and yellow. So it was pretty cool. So these are just the RGB version of that, so just all the colors on these, but they're great performing fans. They are kind of pricey, but they're worth it.
And if you're looking at a bigger case, these are good on you, because there's your fan cable. Like, it is long.
Yep. Now, I noticed that you didn't put the fans on before you mounted it. Is that because you need to put the fans on the outside of that frame?
Correct. So this has a
Gotcha.
mesh front. So we're going to be pulling fresh air through the front mesh grill.
Gotcha. Trash Bandit says, I ended up going with liquid cooling for my Ryzen 7 5800X. That'd definitely keep that cool, you know, keep that temperature down.
Yeah, that's a good idea anyways. That way your 5800X
Yeah.
can boost up to whatever it needs.
Yep. So, what games have you guys been playing lately?
And so I just started booting up old school RuneScape again. So kind of waiting for WoW Hardcore to come out. Played a little Diablo, but it didn't really sit well with me.
I'm playing Star Wars The Force Unleashed on the Wii.
God, I love that game so much.
Yeah, I'm enjoying going and collecting all my crystals.
Nice.
Okay.
Wasn't there a Zelda game out for the Wii as well?
and
What
yeah,
was
the
it?
Diablo
Skyward
4
Sword,
season
maybe?
came out today,
I don't want to
so-
say any.
Yeah.
I don't want to get any people mad. But
Yeah.
I have never played a Zelda game before.
Ever?
Ever.
Wow.
Played what? Played which game?
Any Zelda game.
No Zeldas for this kid.
Are you going to at some
Oh,
point?
wow.
I don't know. I
Oh,
kind
no.
of been thinking about it, but Bridget, my lady, she's got a Switch. But
Mhm.
like every time I see that game, it's like a $70, $100. I'm like, I don't understand why this game is so much.
I wasn't a fan of Breath of the Wild,
I don't.
So
I
I
don't know
didn't
where
play
I would
much
have
of
to
it.
start.
but yeah, I mean, you could. There's so
If I
many
could
ways.
start with a brand
I'd
new
probably
game,
tell
or
you.
if I would have to like, I need to go.
I mean,
back
I would
to the
always say
OG.
Ocarina of Time, you know,
Yeah.
just cause. But yeah, I never played Majora's Mask. Never had that one.
Dirty Yankee says, I hate myself, so I play Escape from Tarkov.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel the same, Trash Panda. I wasn't a fan of Breath of the Wild, so I didn't get Tears of the Kingdom. I heard it makes improvements on Breath of the Wild, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I got other games. Pikmin 4.
My first experience with Zelda is the original Zelda on the NES.
Oh,
that
wow.
was my very first experience with Zelda. Same thing with Metroid.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
original Metroid was a side scroller, like a side dungeon scroller. And then it became this whole different thing. So,
Yeah, I never played the one on the NES.
you know, and what's funny is I still have my NES.
I've got one too. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool to have.
It doesn't real, but here's the problem. It only has the RCA out,
Yeah.
and having to find some way of plugging an RCA into a TV right now is almost damn near impossible.
Sorry, Paul.
Twilight
good.
Princess for the Wii. Toby, hi, welcome
Maybe
in.
that's the one I was thinking of. Yeah. But it was Skyward Sword on the Wii as well. Was there two for the Wii that were like Wii exclusives, or maybe they were like Wii U and Wii? I'm not the biggest Zelda fan, so. Yeah, I was getting my NES out of our storage under our stairs at home the other night and was plugging it into our old TV that we have for that, and I couldn't get it to come on. It was working when I put it under there. So, I don't know. I was kind of like, it is what it is. Just let the N64 hooked up. But I was going through the games because some of those games are worth a lot. All the games I have were like $10 or under, but I did have one that was like $70. And it was just some weird, like, I forget which, I think it was like a hockey game or something. Something weird that you wouldn't expect.
Let's see here. Skyward Sword. Shasta says Skyward Sword apparently sucked on there. Let's see here. Jedi Smuggler says, I'm pretty gaming illiterate. I just played educational games on the family computer, and now I only play Star Wars: The Old Republic. though I have not played it in a while. The Old Republic was a great game when it came out.
It was awesome.
My first Star Wars game that I played, let's say in the last since 2000, was the original Star Wars Battlefront and Battlefront 2 on, but I had them on the
Battlefront 2.
What's it called? The PSP.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I will say the console that I definitely went through the most games on, like at GameStop, was Sony, the PlayStation 2.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
I remember
That, yeah.
my brothers
And-
took their PlayStation 2 into college, and their professor let them put it up on the projector
That was nice.
opening day.
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, and then what's funny is now, now I look at my Steam library and my Ubisoft and all the rest of it, and I've got a couple more games that I know what to do with.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, my PSP was legit. I loved that thing. I think handheld gaming definitely has evolved, but I still to this day do not believe that there has been a handheld that exceeds
Game Boy Color.
that. You think that beats
Hell
the
yeah.
PSP?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Pokemon Gold and Silver, Crystal. No, I don't know. The PSP was pretty impressive. I remember playing Assassin's Creed, or not Assassin's Creed, God of War on it.
What?
And it
Can
was
we
like
get
crazy,
another
yeah.
Gears of War?
Gears, I think, is done. By the way, Ivory mentions that he has the white Battlefront 2 Vader PSP. Oh my god,
Ooh.
that is awesome. Yeah, Zombie, that's an excellent question when it comes to gaming. Cross progression is very, very important, and at least the Gears esports is finally done. I know that.
Yeah.
The Gears story may not be over.
Oh, I want like OG story, because like the first two.
Gears was crazy.
Yeah, the first 2-3 games were insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I
if
love
they were to
story
remake
better.
them
Oh.
with advanced movement mechanics.
Be cool. I love the reload feature, just like trying to hit it right to get the your bullets to do extra damage. That was nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree, Toby, and especially so what Toby mentioned was I started on NES and have been a Sony fan for a long time, but slowly moved to PC, but into better PC to get into it more. Well, make sure you're entering the contest. Also, you can find one right here with us. But I loved the storylines that were there, but when I finally got to play God of War on the PC for the first time, it was night and day difference. Absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, it's crazy how much better that is. I think Dark Souls 3 did that for me. Like I was already PC gaming at that time, but I bought Dark Souls 3 for my Xbox 360 or One, whichever it was on. And my buddies would bring, like, we all get together, my buddies would bring their computers over, and it's just totally different because you're not capped at 60 FPS. So I rebought the game for my PC just because it looked so much better on PC.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Like, that's one of the things I'm excited about Starfield for, because with granted, I have been looking at some of the controversy that's surrounding Starfield, which is interesting, because it's going to be locked to 30 frames per second on console,
It's locked at
but
30.
PC it's not.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
right?
Yikes.
Right? 2008 called. They want their frame rate back.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but PC won't have that issue. However, the recommended specs is pretty high.
Yeah.
Virgie, welcome. Hello. Yeah, the PC won't have DLSS, which is interesting as well. So they teamed up with AMD to kind of help fine-tune things, which is interesting.
It
You
is.
barely meet the ultra specs with the new PC build? Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry, you cut out there. What was that?
I think it might, because the way I heard it was like they're partnered with AMD, but they haven't said anything about anybody else.
Yeah.
So that like when it comes out, they can be like, yeah, we were thinking of you guys too. But as like an after.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Hey, it's nice and compatible for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. They were recommending. Where is the system? This is. Yeah, there we go. The system specs and ultra specs, which is really unique when you think about it. So, minimum PC specs for Starfield, right? Minimum is Ryzen 5 2600X or an Intel Core i7 6800K, right? 16 gigs of RAM, GeForce 1070 Ti minimum. Got to have version 12 for DirectX. But in all of these, an SSD is absolutely 100% required. If you go to the ultra specs, it is kind of wild. They want, if you want ultra and or 4K at higher frame rates, they said it's going to be exceedingly CPU intensive, but the lowest card level to pull it off are the high-end RTX 30 series, like a 3080 and 3090, and then any 40 series card should be able to pull it off. Yeah, it's
It's
kind of wild to think
with
about
me.
that.
Yeah, the future is now, and we don't care about our graphics quality.
Yeah.
And
Just-
don't worry, if
Probably
you don't
play
have
WoW
enough
and
RAM, you can
RuneScape.
download more RAM.
Yeah.
What do you...
I said, and don't forget, if you need to upgrade your RAM, you can just download
Just
some
download
more.
more? Yeah, easy clap.
You cannot download RAM, just so that we're all aware.
There was a
Wasn't
way
joke.
to like have stick a thumb drive in and make it act like RAM at one point in time, but I don't think it ever really worked that well.
I like the idea of them just having expansion slots, and then you can just slot in your own. Yeah, I've got a 3 terabyte graphics card. You know.
No big deal.
Ivory says, one time I downloaded a cup holder and it just opened the CD drive. Yes. My very first laptop that I ever bought myself was a Toshiba, and I remember trying to figure out why things wouldn't run on it, and it kept saying, well, we've got onboard graphics, but not dedicated graphics. And I didn't understand what that meant. I'm like, well, and I kept asking people, can I download more graphics? Like, no, that's not even how that works.
Not yet.
One thing I do love about this build is that it's a full build. There's not a 2/3 case, but that the choice in the all black interior is wild. It looks so clean.
It does. It really does.
Now, I have a question for something that I see on the board, because it's on my board as well, but I don't really know what they mean. So if you look at the upper right-hand corner of that motherboard, you'll notice that it says, it's got those buttons and a little code pad.
Yep.
What do those mean and what do they do?
Yeah, so this is our, what do they call this? 8-key, something digital display, however many lines there are. That's your digital readout. Now this is really nice for getting codes. It's a really easy way to see, like, you're booting up but not getting video. There should be a code here. You can just go to your motherboard manual and see what it is. So that's really nice. But these buttons are for turning it on. So if you ever had this in like a test bench, or you were just inside your machine, you're like, I'm just gonna move my RAM around, maybe I'm having an issue. You just hit start and power it up. Like, so once everything's plugged in, we could open the side panel and turn on this PC by hitting start. It's essentially just another power button for your system that's pretty much used in just testing environments.
So, IKEA's now does bring up something interesting, and I would love to actually ask how you guys would describe it. What is the difference between virtual RAM and RAM?
Yeah, so VRAM is like video RAM, so that's what's on your video card. So it provides the same function as your system RAM, it's just what your video card is going to use before your system memory. And typically the RAM on a video card is the next generation ahead. That's why you'll see VRAM be like DDR6. So it's usually it's more expensive and it's just better quality, faster RAM. So, you know, a few years ago we were using DDR4 boards and you would have, you know, DDR5 RAM on your video card.
So then what is virtual RAM? Because I've seen like virtual paging files or virtual RAM in a PC that it lists as also RAM or no?
I mean, the only thing that I've seen for like virtual RAM is if you're running like a virtual machine. So say you've got 11 on your computer at home, but you have a program that you need to run XP, so you run a VM for that. You can dedicate some of your system RAM to that virtual machine. And that would essentially be that.
That makes sense. All right. So now, Zach, I see that you're playing with sticky tape again. You know how we feel about that. What are you doing?
I am connecting my fan controllers to a hard drive box. So essentially, this is my fan controllers. They don't move around. They don't go anywhere. I can have all of my fans plugged right into them. I can use the actual hard drive bay to store all of this excess. Excuse me while I get all of my cables here.
Look at all them cables.
All of these
You're good. I don't think
cables.
I've seen you ever
Daddy long legs
do it
cables
like that
right
before.
there.
Yeah, so
Right.
this is just kind of because of the Thermaltakes. Like, this is literally how.
Look at that thing.
That's a long cable.
Good grief.
So, kind of even though we're going there. This is my extension from the rear exhaust. So this will be like the shortest cable that will get plugged in right here. So just
Interesting.
kind of getting it set up. All of these, each one of these gets its own individual power. They both get connected to the motherboard as well. So,
Big brain smarts right there.
And the power these use is the floppy disk power connector. Pretty cool.
Right.
So there's an actual use for it.
That's great. There's a site that used to tell you to download more RAM. Yes, and that was definitely a classic virus site. Exactly.
I'll send you a
So
link
Trash
to
Panda. Oh, by the way,
download RAM
Dappy
for
returns.
$20.
Hello, welcome. I am 3D printing a wrap for my tower that looks like something you can find in Starfield for your PC. Nice.
Nice.
Nice. Let us know how that works out. And let's see here. What PSU are we looking at using? That is an excellent question. We are going to be using a 1200 watt Corsair HX 1200 80 plus platinum. That's a heck of a power supply.
It is. So I'll go ahead and start unboxing this now, actually, so we can get the cables out and going. Yeah. It's been a while since we've used a Corsair power supplies.
God, this is.
Is that piggyback plugged in there?
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, zombie. So it's floppy disk going
That
into the
looks
box
terrifying.
with Molex coming out.
Let's see here. Oh, good question. Shadow Universe says, if I were to order a pre-built PC, how fast can I get it delivered to Canada? I'm not a big fan of spending $4,000 plus and not getting it for 3 to 4 weeks. Would it cost extra for quicker shipping methods? Thank you. Love you guys. Excellent question. I'll let the guys here answer that for you.
Yeah, so you can always pay to upgrade your shipping to like next day air or whatever the options are depending on where you live. But we are pretty caught up right now, so if you let us know if you do purchase one of ours that you would like it expedited, we will do everything we can. There's no promises, but in a situation like that, if you let us know, we do try to prioritize those as much as we can. And yeah, I would say we could probably get it built in a couple days. It depends on a lot of parts availability, assuming we got, you want stuff that's in stock and ready, I'm assuming. So, yeah.
Hopefully that answers as that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to be fair, the shipping is pretty darn quick and just in general.
Yeah, we're located right in the middle of the U.S., so that allows us to be able to ship pretty much everywhere, U.S. and Canada, with good shipping times.
What? Dell has a minimum wait time of 21 days. That's believable. Now every company's got their process, so yeah, pre-builds should be fairly quick. I completely agree.
Yeah, if you order an RTS
Now-
system, that'll ship out same day or next day. I believe we tell everybody, next day or 1 to 2 days. But if it gets ordered in time, sometimes we can get those out same day as well. We just don't like to make that promise and not be able to keep it.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Ivory responded. Yeah, the pre-built ship the day after they're ordered if it's an RTS system. Nice. So you'll get it pretty quick. Now, taking a look at this monster of a power supply, and I get it because on mine, which is similar to this one, just different graphics cards, really. I got the 1300 watt as opposed to the 1200. Walk us through this power supply. This is chunky. It's a big boy.
So it's pretty long, as you can see. It's longer than our standard power supply here. And then let me get this plastic off here. So this is a fully modular power supply. So you can see we've got all the ports right here for all of our cables that are in this bag. So that means none of these cables are pre-soldered in, and we'll just use the cables that we need. This is obviously a 1200 watts, so this is going to have cables for everything you can imagine. But yeah, this is a lot longer, and that's just due to the high wattage of this. This is also an 80 plus platinum, so that's pretty high in there.
Pretty extreme.
This whole build is extreme. Pretty cool. Jealous.
Yeah. Yeah, this thing is going to be wild. Wild. Okay. Now, one thing again to notate here is that Phanteks, and I love this that Phanteks does this. You see all those little black lines there, everybody, that says Phanteks on it? Those are actually built-in mounted Velcro straps to help with all the cable management. And to be fair, it helps these guys make it look so pretty.
Yeah, they really look great. We still will use zip ties, as you see Zack doing there, and you can see the channels he runs that down. But just having those Velcro straps just to even make it, clean it up, it just looks really good.
So, Trash Panda has a question that is got a reference to a term that I'm not familiar with. And hopefully you guys can explain it to me. It says, do you guys build NAS systems at all? Looking to install one for my household since I have 6 PCs in my household.
Yeah, we do NAS systems. Yep, and Zack actually, we have another guy who does those, but Zack is primarily the one who handles all of our servers and stuff like that.
Network attached storage. Okay,
Yes.
there we go.
So that's where you can have all your movies, all of your music. It's all in one case. You hook into it via the network, and on essentially any of your devices, you can watch your movies and listen to your music without having it bogged down your main system.
So that's what my 8 terabyte, what I call my 8 terabyte server drive has an Ethernet on the back of it.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like, like I'm sure DreamHack does it at the free to play, or if like you sit down and the games that you want to download, they have those stored on a local server. That way, it doesn't actually have to like go out and download it. It just allows you to download things a lot more quickly, and just it's obviously nice to just have a nice storage system too for everything to be on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to do a discount double check.
Fully agree.
Yep. Good on that.
Good on there.
Okay.
Sweet. Thank you.
Let's do this real quick, just so you know.
Yeah.
IKEA now says I want the ultimate tech home at some point. Yes, NAS included. Yeah. Yep. That is always ideal. I know that we've got like
Dude, my bad.
just in my house alone was 1, 2,
Is that what you're...
Yeah.
3, 4, 5,
Oh.
Yeah.
6, 7, 6. Oh, guess we have 6 as well. Yeah, 6 PCs.
That's the
You
way
got-
to do it.
Is that a basketball
Yep.
team or one more than a basketball team, right?
Yes.
I think.
I'll just say yes. My house is 6 codes for 50 people. Ah! There we go. It's another code. First 50 people get to get it. It is Kick-3Z7N. That's 3 zebras, 7 ninjas.
Now
There we
say it in a pirate's voice.
Sounds like a Disney movie.
That be the 3 zebras and 7 ninjas be coming for your soul.
Oh man.
Got it? Nice.
CPUs.
Nice. Let us know that you got it. That's awesome. We're also going to be having codes over on my stream later on today, which will be a lot of fun. Finally back. This my puppy hates me right now because I made him get into the cone of shame. Okay.
Cables.
More cables. Well, I can get the video card out actually. It's been a while since I've seen one of
Yeah.
these Zotac
Send
ones.
it
We really like these.
Oh, it's a Zotac?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So, yeah, this is going to be a Zotac RTX 4090. This is a 24 gigs of DDR6 RAM, which is lit. These cards are just wild to me. They're absolutely fascinating. They are also usually heavy as all heck.
Mm-hmm.
So, Necro, do you stream? Shut up. Your dog got the... Yeah. I put it on him because I had to come down here and stream, and I know that he can almost reach the spot where he had surgery on. I'm like, all right, so I can't sit here and physically watch you. I'm putting the cone on, and he just was very, very angry about it. Yeah, not happy at all.
Poor
Okay,
guy.
so these, yeah. Now, I honestly don't think I've seen the Zotac 4090, or at least I don't remember what it specifically looks like comparatively.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're gonna like it.
Snowboard.
Might remind you of a Capri Sun. Dun-dun-dun.
I stream DDR and karaoke. Yes, basically. Whoa, that's right. This has got the oval. It's got that little dip in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
This looks like a cruise ship from The Fifth Element.
Yeah, it kind of does. Yeah, it does look like some alien technology.
Yeah.
I really like this card. It's kind of a, I don't know, a breath of fresh air in the video card models.
Yeah, definitely a cool one. Definitely a cool one. Tell us a little bit about this card.
So this is our RTX 4090, 24 gigs of memory, as you said. I really like the heat spreader on this. It looks really unique. There's going to be a lot of RGB on this as well once we get this plugged in. Yeah, it's honestly, for the way video cards are now, it's honestly not that huge for being a 4090. It's obviously a big card. It's a 3-slotter, all that good stuff, but it doesn't feel unnecessarily big to me.
Yeah, when you start getting into some of those 4 slots, like the quad slot cards are just nuts. But great backplate though, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Great backplate. Yeah, I love that you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's funny when you go back and look at old, like, 9 series GTX, you know, the right before the 10 series came out, they didn't have backplates. It was just the PCB.
Yeah, just raw
That's it.
PCB right there.
Just raw PCB, that's all it was. You had to install it upside down so you couldn't see the fans. You're like, oh, God, why?
Yeah, it's like
But yeah,
having a backplate was a really big deal back then. Now it feels like almost everything has one.
Even this motherboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Even the motherboard
Right,
has
also
a backplate.
that, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes, it
point.
does. Frogs are fun like that. I'll be honest.
Okay.
Lots of fun like that.
Shink. So you can see I have had to remove 2 of the little plates to allow for the Type 3 cable and the 24 pin because the EATX boasts pretty close up against the edge. It's just a way to get it to where it'll work and look good still.
Necro asks us a very legitimate question. So does this transform into a semi-truck, Camaro, or perhaps a tank? Yeah, this is basically 2 watts away from being Skynet, so...
It becomes an ice cream truck.
Because it's so fresh and so cool.
It's so sweet.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Samantha, welcome in. We got AKTOSGs in the house. Actogs. Hello, hello.
Okay.
Got a lot of new people in here. This is great.
How many does that have? A dongle of 4.
4, yep, I should have 4
The
there.
queue
for
times
you,
along.
too.
Good grief.
Oh, and that's these ones. This one.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't like the Corsair so much.
At the dentist? Yes. Last time I was at the dentist, I numbed the entire side of my face, and it was hilarious.
Yeah, you feel like you can drown at a drinking fountain when they do that. Like,
Yep.
I'm gonna
Yep.
drown standing up.
Well, and I couldn't tell if I was accidentally chewing on my cheeks or biting my cheek,
Yeah.
you know? And so I'm like, oh, God. I'm going to stick my tongue like this, which made it just even worse for me to talk. Actog says, I got my PC through you guys. Best purchase ever made. That is awesome. That makes us very, very happy to hear. So glad you're good.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Really glad you're enjoying it.
Yep. Oh, yeah, you know what? And if you get a chance, send us a video of it. Or if you're going to post it on social, make sure you tag @CLX Gaming. We would love to see it. We always love to see how people are using the PCs and what they're using them for, whether it's gaming or art, streaming, but I mean, media, architecture. There's so many different ways to use these PCs. Apparently, the
Wasn't
Necros
sure
are
how
pretty
many
unaffected
SATAs, but I
by
do have a Molex ready.
the new update.
One
Cool.
SATA
One
and 2
SATA,
Molex.
1 SATA and 2 Molex.
Okay. Sweet. Perfect.
Now, there's a term that I'm not super familiar with. What do you mean by Molex?
So Molex is a type of power connector like SATA or a video card. I've got an extra one here. These modular power supplies usually have a couple extras. I can show you real quick. Molex is everyone's least favorite connector, probably right above RGB. So it's these 4 pins here. I got one in my hand here, Jason, if we want to. So this is our Molex.
Oh, those.
It's a 4 pin. Now,
Got it.
why these are frustrating is the pins that goes into these like wobble around and move around, and they very easily they can push out the pin here, so you'll still see the silver part, but the wire will come out when you're plugging it in, and then it's a pain because you got to like hold the wire in and push it in. Just it's honestly it's not a good connection. It's old stuff. Hopefully they'll eventually get rid of it.
So because that looks like what I used to do to
Sad
get
note,
power
that's
to
not
my
going
old
away.
hard drives.
Yeah.
The IDE hard drives, yeah. Zack and his flashlight. I want to get you an ear-mounted flashlight that comes right across the side of your head, so
All right,
it just
if you
aims
give
wherever
me-
you're looking.
If you give me an ear-mounted one, can it have the technology that I get to use my eyes to like turn it on and off?
Need a cybernetic one.
I mean, I feel like that might be
I
a
just
little
want-
outside of my wheelhouse, considering I didn't even know what Molex was, but we could certainly try.
I just want to be able to control the world like Starfield with just my eyes.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We need to ask.
Agreed.
What was his name again?
I don't know.
It was something loser, and he got the Atmo build.
Ultimate Loser?
Yeah, Ultimate
Oh,
Loser.
yeah,
That's really
Ultimate
good.
Loser. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I saw his posts in the Discord of the
Right.
stuff, but I want to like see if that dude like streams or something, because that would be fun to watch that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you can also, like Crucian, who was on the show, he's with Atmo Esports. Crucian streams with that gear all the time.
God, that would be
So, yeah, buddy.
I need it.
Get that little guy plugged in there.
Oh, I guess I should.
At Esme, yes, I am streaming today after the show. I have no idea what I'm going to stream. I'm trying to decide whether I want to do a little Diablo or whether I'd really, because there's also been an update for Dying Light 2. I also still have yet to finish Dead Island 2. So, thinking smacking some zombies around might be kind of fun. But then I also know, like, Perchy's probably playing a lot of Rainbow Six Siege right now, so I need to finish that battle pass. I need to finish the Destiny battle pass. Again, my backlog is nuts. And so, yes, there will be a code given out today. I owe you all some codes. I didn't stream for a minute with everything going on from my mom to Pride. Pride was last weekend here in Portland. So, were you going for Emerald?
No.
Crunchbox, welcome. Yeah, played ranked, got kicked. Got my teeth kicked in, it was great. Okay. Now comes the fun part of getting everything. Oh, I see what you did. You plugged it in first, and then while it was out,
Yes.
and routed the cables through it so that when you screwed it in, you're not having to reach your hands back in there to put anything else into the power supply.
Correct. Because if you
Genius.
remember, I did stick that hard drive bay and fan controllers down there. There are multiple positions for the hard drive bays to sit in the bottom of this case. So
Okay.
depending on like how large of a power supply you get, they need to be further toward the front of the system. But I think I think it allows for, like, you could stick 4 bays down there, 2 double stacked trays. So it can hold quite a bit of storage.
Nice. It's good stuff. What? Botrix official is being rude. What did Botrix do? What? Send so many emotes. Literally send all the emotes. Botrix. Awkward. All right, so while we're getting into these final, are we ready? Do we think we're, Zach, are we ready for the website, or do we want to take a few more to talk about what you're doing right now?
We could boogie to the site.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a second and talk about our website, because I know a lot of people have been talking about this is an amazing machine. It's really awesome. So let's take a look at our website. At clxgaming.com, we try and make it as simple and easy as possible for you to get your hands on the ultimate machine, especially a machine that is going to meet your needs and potentially even match your brand. We've got all the different options you can choose from, ready to ship models and otherwise. Our configurator makes it so that you can't even accidentally make something that's not compatible. So if, say, you choose a DDR4 board but accidentally choose DDR5 RAM, you're going to see that green button suddenly turn to yellow. And when that happens, it is going to flip to yellow, and you'll see options listed. Those options will tell you, hey, you can choose this kind of a board that works with the memory that you wanted, or you can choose this kind of RAM that will work with the motherboard you wanted, just like that. So it makes it so simple and easy, and it's also kind of a learning curve too. It's fun, and you've got everything you can choose from: extra cards, capture cards, sound cards, different options, anywhere from Radeons to NVIDIA to ARC cards for your graphics. We've even got a shop for peripherals, and you can get t-shirts like this and our windbreakers. They're awesome. So all that being said, if you don't want to go through the configurator, don't worry. We've still got something even better. We've got ready to ship models, all sorts of different sizes, configurations, and ways of putting things together. That is probably going to be something that some of you really, really want. So therefore, check that out as well. They're already tested, ready to go, and looking for a new home. Who knows, that home might just be yours. So for all of your PC gaming needs, head on over to clxgaming.com and get your rig next, going for the future. Here we go.
So one of my fans got unplugged when I was doing my tie-up.
Uh-oh.
So give me a second. I got to find it.
Not a problem. What's up, Psyche? The gray and black windbreakers on your buy? Yes, on your to buy list. Absolutely, absolutely agree. I think it's so pretty. Yeah. So when I mentioned sound cards, like, yes, sound cards are oftentimes for audiophiles. However, there are also sound cards that are really great if you are trying to blend in, say, audio equipment, MIDIs, XLR. Outputs and inputs from, say, DJ mixers. If you've got a production suite that you're really trying to focus on and utilize, then those sound cards can really be super helpful. Let's see. Yeah. And IKEA, you're right. Like the intensive upgrades that have been happening with the way motherboards process sound have been absolutely wild. Now, granted, oftentimes you'll also end up with your sound going through, is only going through your graphics card. But there's many different ways you can configure that. Coming back up here. Now, I do want to cover one thing while you're doing that. Paul, when this system is done, just like, oh, not here, got it. So Zach?
Yeah.
So can you walk us through what you do to these PCs once they once they're built?
Yes. So at our desks, we will power them on, make sure everything is looking good, and then from there we will take them over to our testing department. Our testers then will go about a 12-hour burn-in on every system that we create. So does not matter if it is a set or if it is a raw or if it is one of our big elite jobs, it's all getting tested. If the customer asks for overclock, we would overclock. And if there's any issues that arise while testing, we can't hit numbers on our RAM speeds or RAM sticks or anything like that, or if something fails, fans, lights, anything like that, then we would be able to address it and make it correct. Do you want me to pop it or just try it?
I'm not sure.
I couldn't tell if it was just unplugged. To me, it seemed like it might have just.
If that's what you think, then yeah.
Unplugged a wee bit when I pulled to tied up.
Always important to check your connections. Mm-hmm. Yeah, audio, studio music, especially if you're working with a digital audio, like a DAW or a DAC, is they can be kind of intensively awkward. So, yeah.
But with our testing, we only test. We don't add any bloatware to your system. When you get your system, it will have a fresh Windows copy on it. And if you got any of the free games, then we would be downloading those. Also, like if AMD or Intel or some of the companies will run like promotions on buy our motherboard and get a free game, or buy our graphics card and get a free game, we will load those games onto it for you because you bought.
And while we're talking about testing here, let me show you this start button, DJ, because we don't really get the option to do this. So while we're doing this, I'll show you, because this is something that we do a lot in testing too. Like I mentioned earlier, this progress, or this screen here, we can use that as a progress bar. So right now we got it plugged in. Now we want to make sure when we're doing this, we have our 24 pin and our CPU plugged in. So that's why you can see, some lights. That means our motherboard's getting power, obviously here. But now if I press this start button, is it all right if I press it, Zach? I don't want to cut your finger in a fan or something.
Good for it.
All right, so when I press this, everything should turn on. You can see we got a little flash there. So there we go. There kicks on
Nice.
our
There
RAM,
comes the RAM on.
and everything should kind of start booting up now. And then eventually we should see some codes there.
Awesome. And just keep in mind, everybody, there's nothing loaded on this board or that hard drive yet. It's just a blank slate. So you pretty much got just, what is it, the base BIOS that we're working on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can actually see this is really cool. I got this animation going right here.
Yeah. Is that in color?
This looks really cool. I believe it's just kind of white and black grayscale. I don't see any color,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it can or not.
Okay.
It kind of looks like some Max Payne stuff going on.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, right, Psyche? I love mine. I am forever just look, because I have the Maximus formula. And it's basically the white version of this board, and it is twisted awesome. I love it. Alrighty. Take a look at that back right there.
Yeah.
And just gotta make sure we get all those fans up and running.
That animation is so cool.
Right? What you want? Who wants? Why are you up to 28 toolbars? I feel like anybody who has 28 toolbars needs some help. Oh yeah, that side of the motherboard is also lit up. It's great, and so does the ROG mask down below. Yep.
Yeah, and that'll rotate.
I wish I could
through.
see mine. Unfortunately, I can't really see mine because of my graphics card is just like nope. Yeah, it's under there. It's just not visible. Back in my day, we had to ask the toolbar if it was considered malware. Yes, Shasto. Also true.
Remember, there's just like all those internet toolbars. You know, you'd open up your grandma's PC and there'd be 6 different search
God.
bars at the top.
Dude, right? And my mom is like, I don't know which one I'm supposed to type things in. I'm like, don't type things in any of them. Just stop. Let me turn them all off. Yeah, graphics cards keep getting chunkier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now, based on the length of the Zotac version of the 4090, are we going to be installing, or have we already installed a anti-sag device?
So this one will most likely we are going to be putting in an anti-sag device. Now, this being covered up there, we do have one of these, and we can't use these in our O11s, but this does work in this type of the case because we have this PSU shroud. So this is nice because you can just set this where you need. It's got magnets here, so you can see this just will sit there, or you can put it, you know, right here on the side. Not that you ever would, but you can do this, and then this bar will raise and lower. So we will use this most likely when we get it in there.
Yeah, it's IKEA brings up a good point. It says, remember when PCs needed an entire room? We're slowly moving back to that with these GPUs. It's funny when you look at some of the old pictures of original PCs and just like all the tape drives and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Like accounting machines were just massive rooms full of nothing but tape drive servers.
Yeah. Tape drives.
And just for I would say for reference, a tape drive apparently only held about 200,000 bits of data, like 200K. That's it. And so they would have dozens upon dozens upon dozens of these things.
Wow.
But the damn punch cards? Yes, Zombie Rain. Also those. Oh my lord. Yep. That's why. Well, and that's one of the reasons why floppies became such a revolution to the computer, because that was 1.4 megs on a floppy compared to what that tape drive was holding. It was miraculous. Right, the Rolodex of punch cards. So for those of you who aren't aware of what we're talking about by punch cards, so the service, that you wanted the computer to perform. The instructions were printed on these. It's like, it would look like Scantron, like you would take on your tests with a number 2 pencil, except for there's punched little holes, kind of similar to like a player piano, a self-playing piano. But you took this, and if you want to, like, we need to, you know, actuate all of these accounts or balance these accounts, you would put that in, and the computer would know, okay, we're going to be doing this activity in this order with this baseline, boom, and just go from there. And it's wild to think that that's where we were, and we're very different now. All right, so Zach, what's up?
I think I might have had a faulty controller. I'm gonna try to install a new one.
Okay, sounds good.
More cable management. The most fun part. I'm trying to do my little bitty part here of cleaning up these video card cables.
And Zombie, like, agreed. In terms of human history, it really wasn't that long ago that we were there. You're absolutely right. When you look back in, like, what we were doing in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, and that ridiculous jump in, well, I would say in just industrial and technological advancements, and then we hit the 70s and just exploded. Everything just has been going lightning fast. So obviously we're getting help from aliens. Kidding. I have no proof of that.
Alien technology.
You can't wait for your upgrade? Nice, IKEA. Gotta make sure all the fans are right, because this is going to be a hot build. To be fair, this thing is going to generate some heat. Yeah, I am often surprised at how much heat this one behind me will create, depending on what I'm playing. And I'm sure that if I drop everything down to 1080p, it might be, I don't know, have a little less heat, but yeah. Still a thing I'm thinking about. Any idea why I'll be running at about 130 FPS and it will randomly go down to 8 to 10 FPS for about 3 seconds? Good question, Phoenix Rising. Let's ask the guys. Guys?
Running about 13 FPS. What game are you playing?
130, going from 130 down to like 8 to 10.
130. Okay. Yeah, most likely, the first thing I would look at would be like a heat issue there. Your GPU might just be throttling itself because it doesn't want to overheat. So that's what I'd look at first. Like, are your exhaust fans on your case like hot to the touch, like too hot you can't leave your hand on there? That's how you know you got an overheating issue. Other than that, you know, you check your drivers always. I mean, everybody's going to tell you that. And sometimes it fixes your issue, sometimes it doesn't. But it sounds like an overheating or a thermal issue to me rather than something being wrong. It sounds like it's just trying to protect itself.
Gotcha. Good to know. Right now we are just, for those who are just joining us, right now we are just finishing getting that new controller fan box installed. Make sure everything is up and running functionally before we unplug it and then install our graphics card. AK Tog says, by the way, the support team at CLX is freaking amazing. Props to you guys. Thank you so much. And to be fair, yes, they are. Yeah. Your support squad is awesome. Everything going well over there?
Look at all these.
My brain.
Uh-oh. Wondering if Trash Panda says, I had a microwave oven that had recipes programmed on a card. You would insert it and it would remember when to stop the microwave to rotate the item. What? I remember my mother cooked a Thanksgiving dinner in that thing. That's kind of
Thanksgiving
awesome.
dinner in what?
Well, in an old school, microwaves had, you know, different things programmed on cards. You insert the card that would know when to stop and tell you to turn the food. Yep. Ultimate Loser's in the house. Hey, what's up, dude? So again, Ultimate Loser won our June giveaway, which was with Atmo Esports, and got a whole ton of stuff, which was awesome. How are you liking it? I know you got it. I know you've been working on getting it all set up. You kind of geeking out yet?
What do you think?
I would imagine he is, because it's just wicked. Okay.
So we're going to go ahead and shift this stuff forward because this power supply is pretty big.
Yeah. Yeah, it is definitely longer than average. I was impressed to see how long that was. Now, does that have anything to do with the fact that it is an 80 plus platinum?
So that might have something to do with the size, but really it's the wattage of the power supply that kind of decides how big it's going to be.
Ultimate Loser says, I've been debating if I should install my music production stuff on it or if I will use it primarily for gaming.
Okay, okay.
Hey, didn't know you did music production. That's awesome. Definitely intrigued about that. Just being a DJ. But also, I'm trying to remember the specs on it. And
I'm sorry.
what did you do?
When you just have a 24 pin unplugged because it's a tight spot, and that's why
That's why we're gonna slide this over.
That's why nothing's firing on all cylinders here.
Yes, that is helpful. Yeah, this thing has 32 gigs of RAM. That was a Ryzen 7 7800X 3D, and you've got it's DDR5-5200 with a 4070 Ti. I would imagine that is pretty much that is going to be amazing for processing music. But the upside is, if it's not, then you can just uninstall it. Props to Ivory for not deleting that channel. Zach has lost some of the cheese, has slid off his cracker just for a little bit. Yeah.
Oh,
The cheese slid. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that is great. I've never
the
heard that before.
lactose.
I love that.
I ate the lactose and it hit my brain.
That's funny.
Ultimate Loser says, I finally fired up Destiny 2 for the first time on the new PC. The difference in performance between this and my old FX 8350 system is astounding. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like, agreed. My old rig, I was playing on basically medium and low settings in order to get 140 FPS or like close to 140 FPS. But oftentimes I would have to go down to like a 1080 and still be on medium in order to get those FPS up there. This thing is just a monster. Absolutely love it. Let's see. That's into a piece. Yeah. Oh yeah. Fully agree on that one.
There we go. Okay.
Good old Molex.
Can we, before I...
Brando, there's nothing wrong with console. I started out on console. I was on console for
let's,
ages, but the minute that I moved to PC, everything changed.
Gotta love
Hey.
them Molexes.
There we go.
Our good old power button. Oh wow, even that's on right now. That's pretty good.
Okay.
So there we go. There's some
Okay. Yeah, I do have one faulty.
33E, 3A. It's running through all of its stuff right now. So
I'm sure that if I was dealing with
Change that over.
yeah.
dealing with those codes, it would make more sense. But yeah.
That's some good on-the-fly
Yeah, so-
troubleshooting right there.
My friends in Australia were always playing Rainbow Six Siege. They wanted me to play it with them, but I was on Xbox, and so they were like, "Can you just play this on your streaming PC?" Okay, I mean, I had to have that thing on low. Was lucky if I could get 60 FPS off of it, and sure enough, yeah. That's what locked me in. Yeah, it is a lot of fun. So Zach, what happened and what's our process here?
Had a faulty fan that was causing a little bit of a short too. So kind of a couple problems. But the solution is, this is a bad fan. This is a naughty fan. This is a no-no fan. That's what I call those.
Yeah, bad fan.
Hopefully we don't have to touch the Molex again for the boxes, because Molex pins, like we discussed.
Molex is difficult to plug in. Alrighty.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Radical. So Radical brings up a good point. Even if I had a top tier PC console, console will always have a place in my heart, especially when there's exclusives. And in Sony's case, the PC ports take a long time to release versus their console counterparts. Absolutely correct. Oh yeah, nice. Crash Panda said it took me a month and a half of working at Phantek's during the pandemic, and I had enough to get a 1660 Super and a decent computer for mid-tier gaming, but can't wait to be joining that higher-end desktop world. Nice.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Yeah.
While the guts are
IKEA.
while the
All
guts
right.
are out.
I just asked about issues with builds. What a coincidence. Maybe I'm a time traveler. Geez, IKEA, you jinxed us.
You set us up.
That's hilarious. Well, we've got the fans running, and we just got to make sure they all light up.
I believe in you.
Let's see.
There we go. Success. Yeah.
And we're still cycling through our codes, which is what we're looking for here. You're gonna see it go through a few. Yep.
So what is the code on these boards that means, hey, everything's running correctly?
So it'll vary between board to board. What you want to see is it going through there. You don't want to see it get stuck. So it just kind of depends, you know, on the board itself.
Mine sits on AO as a normal
There you go, yeah.
standard thing.
I would assume this one will sit on that too. It's kind of brand specific, honestly, but it can vary
gotcha.
across.
Okay.
It can vary across different models, but usually it's brand specific.
Yeah. One thing I really love about the fact that there is an error board or an error code spot on the boards, you're not having to listen for the beeps anymore.
Yeah.
So, Paul, can you explain what the beeps did and when you would hear them?
So that was part of the post, which stood for power on self-test, and that would show, like, you know, maybe you'd get a series of short beeps might tell you, oh, you got a bad stick of RAM. You know, it could be, you know, it could tell you various things. It was kind of using like Morse code to tell you what's wrong with your PC before they could just build in a display on the motherboard. So you used to have motherboard speakers. You'd have this tiny little speaker that you would have to put on your motherboard that was like a like your front panel headers. And then some motherboards, if you had a fancy motherboard, it had a speaker already soldered on there, so you didn't have to do that. But I remember when we were building PCs, we would buy
loud and
thousands.
obnoxious.
Yep. We would buy thousands of these motherboard speakers, and just get back and just one for every motherboard because you had to use one every time.
Radical Tear said, "Oh my God, didn't even know the latest Ratchet and Clank was releasing on PC until like yesterday. I'm really curious to see how it'll even run." I'm gonna be real honest. That is, whenever everybody's like, "But you don't like PlayStation?" Like, no, it's just that PlayStation didn't have Halo. But some of my favorite game series were obviously all of the Ratchet and Clanks. When you look at the Jack and Daxters, were hilariously fun. Loved those. Redemption. I'm sorry. Resistance. The Resistance series. God, did you guys ever play the Resistance series?
I don't think
That
so.
game was. Oh my God! Resistance, Fall of Man, Resistance 2, and Resistance 3 were a series, and then Resistance Retribution, which was the first one in the series I played, was on the PSP. It is hands down the greatest game that was ever on PSP, considering the game time, the graphics, the play. It was just awesome. In the 90s when I was building a lot of PCs, almost every PC had the speaker built into it. Yeah. Yep. Yes. All righty.
So now we're going to be installing our cap for our liquid cooler. Now this is what we were talking about at the beginning. That is magnetic. So you can see Zach's running the RGB wire for that right there. And then he's going to be popping on this cover. It'll go right over that pump.
Yep.
And you can see those tubes do just rotate, so you can easily move them out of the way. You don't got to be worried about, you know, not touching them or anything. They're made to swivel. Yeah, once we get it installed, we'll wipe it off.
Yep. I keep ask, is this an AIO or custom?
This is an AIO. Yep.
Yep. An all-in-one, which means it's completely sealed. You don't have to refill it or check it. It's just, it's on its own journey. Okay. And then we'll pop this baby over on its side and install the big kahuna. Follow-up question, do you do customs? Absolutely, CLX does customs. Open loops? Oh my gosh, some of the things they can do are wild. Paul, tell them a little bit about what that entails.
Yeah, so we do open loops here that are totally custom. You've probably seen Hayden on the show. He's our main guy who does it, but we've got a few people that do it. And what that is it's a totally handmade cooling solution. So you have your reservoir and pump that's usually a combo now that sits in here. We usually mount that, and then we actually bend the tubes depending on the case to run your system. So maybe you got just a CPU loop, one loop for your CPU, or you want to do a dual loop with a CPU and a video card. We can do all of that. So, and we've actually done, I think, 2 of them on the show now. So those should be on YouTube if you want to kind of check out what that looks like. They look really great.
Triple slot.
It is. And as you can see that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we can show those codes one more time too.
Yeah, this is a good spot right here. So right now on the top of the screen, you'll see where that manual start button is that he was touching. And yeah, there we go.
We just press this button right here.
Yep, that one right there.
Boom.
And that's what I was talking about when I see the codes that play, because I have a very similar board, and it goes through all. Is this going through the steps of how it starts up? Is that correct?
Yep.
So it's checking the memory right now, and then it essentially just checks over the whole system. And like right now, it is on memory code 79. So if you wanted to, you can look it up. But it's just flashing a bunch of letter digit codes. As it just scrolls through its main boot.
There we go. Nice. Now we're going to unplug that because we don't want the power involved while we are plugging in our... Yep.
Yeah, I just hit the power button a couple times after we plugged it in, just to get rid of anything that's stored in the capacitors. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, AIOs are not really risky. It is the open, and it's not that they're risky. It's just understanding how to manage an open loop system. Like, it's important to know what you're getting yourself into. Oh, mixed over here, like you guys got me like Scooby-Doo every time I hear the word code. Yeah, for a 40 series, I have to agree that is a well-sized card.
Yeah, it's good.
Not too big, not too small. Yeah. Oh, Otis, I agree. That is a long card. You know, when you get down into some of your smaller ITX cases, is it even possible to fit 40 series cards in there?
So they do make some ITX case designs for full-size video cards. Now, it's definitely something you have to look at specifically when you're looking at an ITX build, but they do exist.
Gotcha. I mean, I guess the only other way you could really shorten that up would be to, you know, do some sort of like a distro plate with a custom block for it. That would shrink the size.
Yeah. If you're doing a custom loop on your GPU, it's going to be very short. I mean, you can see where the PCB stops on this card right here.
Yeah.
So it's only going to be that long, and it won't even be as wide as this card is.
Nice. Now, we've talked about the number of pins and various other versions of cards. How many pins are on this one?
So this is 4 8-pin power connectors going into the adapter.
Oh my God.
Yep.
All the power.
So much power. So much wow.
Can we just start installing 24 pins on graphics cards?
I'll take that.
I
one,
would rather
one 24
do that.
pin
One
connection
24
than
pin
4.
over all of these.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. That's wild.
One day in the future, on the 6090, there will be a 24 power connection.
Topher asks a great question, and Samantha, no, I don't believe Zack actually counts as ties. Topher says, is there a difference between the brands for the 4090, or do they all run the same?
That is a really good question. So there is a difference. So really what you're looking at is clock speeds. Now across all the models, they're going to be very similar in performance. But that's the main difference when you're looking. The other one is obviously just the cooler on it, how the card looks. Is the other biggest difference. But as far as performance wise, they usually overclock the card when they put their cooler on it. So that's going to be the biggest performance difference. Other than that, it's all looks. And honestly, unless you're just trying to, you know, have the best scores on 3D Mark or something like that, I consider them, you know, all the same as far as performance goes.
Yeah. Yep. All right, getting all those pulled out from the front, and then you'll get them properly placed.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, that's a lot of cables.
It is, yep.
Going to one card.
It is.
I'm also surprised that we talked about that. We don't want the cables touching it. I was just surprised that they haven't done like any type of a right angle so that it's less pulling down on it.
Yeah, so Cable Mod does make those where you can get an adapter, and they'll have them to where it's a right angle down, a right angle up to the side, so that it matches all the different types of video cards.
Gotcha. Okay. Final stage of the tie-up process.
And throw the panels on here, be good to go. Now, probably the coolest thing that I like about this case, along with the Evolve X, are the cable management panels. So we'll go ahead and put those on.
Yeah, these look
now.
slick.
You can already see the tie-up looks really clean here.
Thank you.
Really like this and the good use of the Velcro straps here, but this case just adds a whole nother level here. So these are like doors. We putting them on the hinges, and then they just close like this to cover up your cables. And we got one down here on the bottom.
Which is super nice.
Yeah. The only cable you really see is typically your back fan cable up at the top, and then your CPU power come down the side. But even that, it tucks in nicely right here. So just gives it a really clean look.
Xog mentions, says, PC building looks hard as heck, man. Props to him for making it look easy. I fully agree.
Thank you.
Fully agree.
Yeah, Zack does a great job. And this is a very high-end build. So as far as like difficulty level, this is definitely up there. Once you start getting the multiple fans with all the different controller boxes, it gets pretty crazy.
Let's see here.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and get our GPU brace in there in just a sec.
Uh-oh. It just looks like that cable is pulling hard.
Yeah, it looks but the whole bundle is rested on the floor actually, so it's held up. It just has to kind of, it'll flex a little bit
Just
here
how
with
it is
the
when
glass.
you got 4 power cables
Yeah.
going to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, Paul.
No, you're good. You're good. No, this is good.
Get this all wiped down and we'll be good
do
to
that.
go. This is going to be interesting because we're going to pop the anti-sag device in here. I love that it's magnetic and just kind of sticks to the bottom of the floor.
Yeah, I really like this one. This was the best version of it for anti-sag brackets for a while. Now, I do like the ones that mount to the motherboard, or to the case through the motherboard. But since this is a Maximus, all of our motherboard holes are covered up, so we cannot use those ones.
Oh yeah, so Phanteks Rising brings up a good question, and Ivory just answered that. The question is, would CLX make upgrades to an already purchased PC from CLX, or would I have to just buy a whole new system? And Ivory mentioned that we can do upgrades. Systems come with lifetime tech and labor warranties, which is true, and just so the parts initially, you get 1 year when it comes to your purchase. You can get it up to 3 year for parts, but lifetime customer service and tech support and labor comes with the purchase of your PC. Yeah.
We made
What's
it.
up, Luke? All right.
The journey is. We have climbed the volcano.
Yeah, we've reached the top. This is a crazy build.
All right.
I'm super jealous of this. 13900 KS,
Yeah.
4090, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
So that's,
Are we ready
that's
for that?
it static. Like that's just
this
the
is
power
just-
supply turned on. So it naturally always has ROG Extreme stuff running
Yeah.
on those panels there.
Yeah,
It's like a little eye, kind of cool looking.
all right. So let's go ahead and power this on, and we'll walk back through all those parts one more time.
Here we go.
Ooh,
Here we go.
that LED across the top and the bottom looks great.
It really does. I like that line across the case and everything. And then bam, these Thermaltakes always take a sec. Yep.
Oh my gosh, that looks so good. Oh, let's go over all of these features in this PC for our friend Mark in Wyoming. This PC features an Intel Core i9-13900KS. It's a special edition that's mounted on a ROG Maximus Z690 Extreme Wi-Fi motherboard with two 32 gig sticks of DDR5-6000. That's a total of 64 gigs of memory for this, along with an RTX 4090 24 gig by Zotac. Its operating system is mounted on a 2 terabyte Samsung 990 Pro NVMe M.2. Of course, our processor is being cooled by a Phanteks Glacier 360 AIO. The rest of the system is being cooled by 7 different Thermaltake ring fans that are all part of their quiet RGB LED series, and it's all being powered by a 1200 watt Corsair HX 1200 80 plus platinum PSU.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Beautiful.
I dig it, I dig it, I dig it. All right, so with that being said, today's show is going to happen in 2 parts as usual. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, you're going to spend the afternoon with Zack as he's got a couple really cool builds that he's going to be assembling with you. So stick around for that. Also, don't forget, if you want to keep up with all the cool and fun things happening with CLX, and also maybe catch yourself a special code or two, all you've got to do is follow us on social media. That's YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter at CLX Gaming. If you'd like to hang out with a like-minded PC enthusiasts and talk about everything from games to codes to PCs, we've got it. It's in our Discord, discord.gg/CLX Gaming. You can also find codes like today over on my channel, and I'll be live here in just a little bit. Plus, if you need anything else for your PCs or otherwise, you can always call our customer servicers. Head on over to clxgaming.com. So with that being said, on behalf of everyone in production, Jason, and I believe Kyle's over there, Paul and Zach, I'm DJ BluePDX. Don't go away. We've got so much more coming up after the break. We'll be right back.
Bye.
Bye.